I have over 100, like almost 150 units, right? If you're just looking for the next guy so you can be married or whatever, you're just gonna be like, oh, that guy checks all the boxes. I would always just say I had some other job for a little while just to feel them out.
What job would you say you had?
I would pick ridiculous jobs. I was an ice cream truck driver. I was like, all right, let's see if they're really interested in me or if it's about what they think I have.
Get ready for Real Lives of Real Estate, where the world of real estate meets the essence of your life. Buckle up as we unravel stories, homes, and the heartbeat behind it all. Let's dive into another episode. I hope you share and are encouraged. All right, so we got with us Mahir Allan today, a good friend of mine, honestly, previous clients, hopefully still clients. We JV'd on a deal together, 2 deals, right? So a partner of mine and a neighbor of mine as of like 2 or 3 months ago. 4 months? 3 months?
December I moved in.
Okay, so about 3 or 4 months. So
Yeah.
4 months. And we are now live here. You're a Newark resident. How do you feel, Mahir? Talk to us.
I never thought I would live in Newark.
How were you convinced to move on it over to the good promised land?
Well, I moved originally to Jersey City, like out of necessity. I had a lot of projects going on. I moved into one of my properties. And I was just looking at like I need to be able to touch my properties like multiple times a day because the projects were not going smooth. So then once I stabilized everything in Jersey City, I was like, I want something a little nicer than where I was staying. And then I ended up in your building.
And you had a pretty nice apartment in New York Ave.
Yeah.
Beautiful backyard, very nice. You had nice 2-bedroom, enjoying life. But your place now is like, it's pretty baller.
I like it.
It's pretty baller.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know the famous question here at Real Lives of Real Estate. What did you grow up in? A house, an apartment, a building, a condo?
I grew up in a house. Yeah, in Staten Island.
Staten Island house. Okay. And who now? Both parents, single parent? How'd that work?
Both parents, and then I have 3 older brothers, an older sister, and a younger sister.
Oh wow, big family. And
Yeah.
I forgot about that. And your house that you grew up in rather. When did you realize it was your house and not an investment property?
I don't know. There was like a moment. I just knew that was home. I mean, I never really thought about I guess we never heard anything about having to pay a landlord. It was always like just the bills of the house,
But it never clicked to you because I always wonder. I'm like, the idea of owning a house is pretty interesting, right? It's like you own this piece of land. You really, I guess, own it only if you pay your taxes, right? You don't pay your taxes, then the government owns it.
Yeah.
But it's just funny, right? You cannot pay your tax. Even if you pay off your house, the government can take it back for the taxes.
You never really own anything.
Isn't that a shame?
It's the way it is.
It is the way.
Yeah.
You only own it till what? You die?
You only own it as long as you continue to play by the rules, right? If you stop paying your taxes on your tax returns, they come after your assets.
If you committed fraud, they can come after your assets. A lawsuit, they can come after your assets.
Yeah. So you just have to play by the rules, which is pay your bills. Pay your bills.
Wow, look at that. Great advice from Mahir Allan. Now, talk to me a little bit. Funny enough, you guys want to know, Mahir is actually our first podcast guest, the unreleased files, because the camera did not work. So this is round 2 with Mahir. So I'm going to do a little bit differently. What I love about you and what I think that you do, very rare. We had another guest here, and he was sharing his experience when it came to basically very cutthroat in the real estate industry and how he really feels like it's very toxic. He's looking to make a change. The people he was talking about, like the way they operated, I know so many people like that, right? So many. And I thought now that you're here, I just realizing you have this thing that, you were talking to me about a partnership that didn't really work out. And I'm like, well, you can't really be upset because, the partner did what was best in their own best interest. And you're like, yeah, well, I wouldn't do that. It's like, maybe I won't make as much money as they will, but it's just not who I am. And I thought it was so interesting. I've seen it time and time again that you haven't wronged people. Even you did your Amazon, right? You had the Amazon business, it didn't work out. You ended up owing people like $100,000, right? Or some crazy number.
Yeah.
And even though you could have been like, hey, sorry, it's an investment, it went south, peace. You did everything you could to get everyone paid out. Well, how do you operate that way in real estate? How do you operate with integrity and ethics and, a loyalty at such a high personal cost?
It's something that I've always done since I was a kid. It started off with I had issues with my hips when I was a kid. And I said all right, well, I'm not going to make an excuse and have a limitation because of my hips. So even if I had crutches, I'd play baseball with crutches.
Wow.
Right. If we were racing, I'd run with crutches, and I didn't want anyone to baby me or coddle me in any way. And then I guess when I got into work life, it was be the guy who says yes to extra hours. Be the guy who says, I'm going to work, come in early, stay late, ask questions. Like if you do something wrong, like take accountability for it. And that I learned that in like my banking life. And then the integrity thing is just like, I have to answer to myself at the end of the day. And if I don't feel that that's something that I would want done to me, I don't feel like something I could do to somebody else. I can't. It gets me into like trouble, I guess, because I make my life harder than it needs to be. But for myself, I can't be like that. I'm very unselfish.
Wow. Really? Basically to your own detriment.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a path you want to continue on?
No. So I heard something recently. It was like, which kind of entrepreneur do you would you think is going to be the most successful? The guy who's 100% unselfish and 100% and 0% selfless? Like, yeah, that guy's going to be good, but it's not going to be great, right?
Yeah.
And if you do the reverse, you're too selfless, 100% selfless, and you're 100% not or 0% not selfish. Yeah. Well, that person's not going to do any well because he's going to have no money, right? He's going to continue to give it away. He's not going to grow anything. So you have to find that balance. Like, you got to have like really like a 70-30 balance. Like, selfish to selfless.
Yeah. One thing I committed to basically recently is life is a battle, right? No matter any way you cut it, there's no walking away from it, alive. You're going to get shot, you're getting killed. And it's in real estate where you're talking about so many high stakes, right? It's a lot of pressure, high overhead. For my business, it's high overhead. You managing your construction projects, that's a risk. You got people's money on the line. So I've realized that I need to step up as a warrior. And when I approach things, and I did the same thing when I went to jail. When I went to jail, there was a guy, he would steal from me. He would go underneath my bunk. I would put all my treats underneath my mattress. And because the box, people steal, so you had to put it underneath your mattress. And they would they would take something like peanut butter crackers, whatever. And I saw the guy, and I would forgive him. That's what I thought was the Christian thing to do. I didn't really understand, but I was really allowing this guy. I'm like, I'm not going to fight this guy. I'm just going to forgive him. He needs it more than me. Very bad mindset in jail.
In jail, yeah.
Very bad mindset in jail. Horrible mindset in jail. But what I ended up doing, it's actually better for you not to order anything. Basically, is what I've learned. But long story short is, by looking back from that experience, I learned a lesson that I now am applying to real estate. You must be able to defend yourself. If not, you actually live the life of a victim. And it's one thing to have the ability to defend yourself. It's another thing to have the courage to defend yourself and the strength. But it's a higher thing to know the wisdom of when to attack and when to not attack. When to say, hey, you know what? I could fight you here and I could walk away winning, but I'm going to just settle. I'm going to settle because it's not worth the time. It's not worth the bad blood. Here's what it's worth.
Right.
And it's a very difficult thing. Like you were saying with the selfishness and not selflessness. It's a challenging line to find, man. Really tough. And you are just so generous.
Yeah, to a fault in a lot of ways. So one thing I started doing in the last year, like you said, like you have to be your own defense. Yeah. Right. And a lot of people are calling me for opportunities, and it's selfish for them, the opportunities, not in my interest, right? All right, like you probably get this all the time. Hey, Brendan, let me get you a cup of coffee. I want to pick your brain one day, right?
I just got it today.
Right. What does that cup of coffee do for you? All right? Nothing, honestly. Like,
I don't have the time for a cup of coffee.
I got my own cup of coffee. I can get a cup of coffee,
It's
right?
$5.
Yeah, so...
$7.
One thing I started to do is I started to avoid those kind of situations and be like, listen, I really don't have the time. If you want to shoot me an email, and when I have the time, I will answer your questions there. So it's a little bit of a barrier. Okay, now I don't have to take 2 hours out of my day to go get coffee with this person who is realistically, they're just after my resources to go do something for themselves.
Your experience, your knowledge.
Exactly. So the other thing I started to do is I started to trim the fat. Who is not of the quality that I need to have in my business? Wow. Right? So a lot of times they'll be like, but he's all right. He's affordable or whatever. But the quality is horrible. You end up spending way more time on it and end up costing you more money because you have this handyman or this contractor or whoever the guy is.
Or that lender or the agent.
Exactly.
That partner.
Exactly. So you just realize, okay, let's start. If our skills were the same, let's say me and you are both realtors and me and you both go out and get deals, what benefit will we have in partnering with each other? right? So if our skills are the same, it doesn't really make sense to partner up anymore.
I'm bringing the same value you're bringing.
So now we're standing on top of each other, both of us not doing the other part of the job well.
And can I tell you what it is? It takes a lot of wisdom, though, to recognize that. A lot of wisdom.
So that's what I started doing over the last year. And then now over the last year, things have gotten a lot different, right? I've generated new avenues to bring in deals.
Yep.
I have a private lender. He funds me on all my deals, better terms than I was getting with hard money. And then I have a contracting crew that is just rolling.
My dream is to get a private money lender. Just someone to fund my deals. That's my dream. We'll see if that ever comes.
It'll come. So, so now my life is way easier, and now I'm at the point where it's like, all right, what else can I do to impact? Like, what should I take off my plate? And that's another way to defend yourself is like, you'll be like, I got it. And then you do it too much. And now you're not doing anything well.
So it's funny that we talk about extremes, like, hey, you got to be all in. Well, yeah, but it's actually a much more balanced approach. If you want to really thrive in real estate, not just even as like, when I say real estate, I just don't mean in real estate industry. I really mean like, even if you want to just buy a house, you're like, I got to buy a house today. It's like, whoa, slow down, be selective, make sure you're ready to be a homeowner. I had a client recently call me super pissed off. Their furnace went out. And they're like, Brennan, I just bought this house 4 weeks ago. And I said, well, remember the home inspection where the guy said the furnace was nearing the end of its lifespan? And, we tried negotiating and they said no. And I told you, hey, listen, this is as is now. You might need to fix this. You said, all right, well, whatever. It's a good deal. And then, a month later, the furnace went out. And now you're upset with me. I'm more than I apologize. Perhaps I should have been more clear with you. I'm not sure what to say. The home inspector told you this. I told you this. It's in writing. Yeah. But I told you to take full responsibility. What do you want me to do? I just apologize. But it's like that guy really should not have bought a house. He didn't understand what it means to be a homeowner. And that's just the first of many issues that are going to come up with a homeownership.
So I think that's like that story is really like it happens a lot in my situations where people want like the accolades.
Oh.
Or like the appreciation or whatever.
I just thought about
that. But then when it really comes down to doing that part, it's like
I'll give you an example.
And is a frustrating situation.
Best example is the Airbnbs. We have an Airbnb, right? We manage some of your units. You're very we have a long-standing relationship with those. I think we manage 4 units for you, right, on New York Ave. 3 or 4? 3. And we manage 3 on New York Ave. And it's always funny. January, February, the people who have been with us a long time, they get so upset. They say, how the hell can this be the case? This month is terrible. Yeah. But in December and November and October, there's no thank you cards.
No.
When it's 2x, 3x what January was, you're like, thanks. That's it.
Yeah.
So, but the reality is they're not. And this is why I've been so selective with now growing the Airbnb. I have people calling me like, oh, can you take on my unit? I say no. Or I tell them straight up, hey, okay, I'm so particular. And Brett McCulley taught me this. He said, when you take people on, they see the hype. They don't understand what it really is. So like, they don't understand, like we had in Reservoir Ave, there's mice on the property, right? There's a mice infestation. So what do we gotta do? We gotta pay for mice. We gotta pay for exterminator. I asked you today. That's gonna come into the profits.
Yep.
That is home ownership. We have to give a refund to the guest.
Yep.
That is when I deal with the person like, well, why'd you give a refund in full? You should only have given him 25%. I'm like, okay. And I say, and that's why what I try to do is I try to remove the partners because they don't really know, right? These like side investors, what it really looks like. So I try to actually close off their access to the involvement. I really do. For honestly, their benefit and mine. Because when they see the calendar and they see that it's empty, like, meanwhile, your average book ahead time is 4 days. So it's normal for it to be empty in 3 weeks. Why? On average, people only book 4 or 5 days ahead.
Yeah.
Why are you so? But the calls, the texts, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, the calendar looks light. What's going on here?
And I'm like, just wait till the end of the month. That's it. And then one person, they looked at the calendar, they misread the calendar. They didn't even know what they were looking at. They said, well, it said $47 a night. I said, that's a suggested price. We're at $82 a night. And I'm like, why are we? I said, do not call me about this again. I'm serious.
Do not call me about this again.
Stop it. I'm just not. I'm not even there. Not even there for it. I'm not there for it.
Yeah.
I do a good. I'll do my best job, and I'll call it a day. That's it. Now, thankfully, since I've been getting involved, everything's going well, and not perfectly, but going well. Yeah. So that's it. Rapid fire questions for Mahir Allan.
All right, let's go.
You're dating a wonderful woman. Her name is Scarlett.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Big fan of Scarlett.
Yeah.
How has you guys been dating for a year and a half, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Before that, how did real estate impact your dating life?
I used to not share it. I would always tell people I had some other job.
But you're on Instagram. Oh, you don't really post on Instagram.
I don't really post much. So I would always just say I had some other job for a little while just to feel them out.
Well, okay, give me an example. What job would you say you had? What was your go-to? You were an architect.
No, I would pick ridiculous jobs. I was an ice cream truck driver.
No, stop.
Yeah, I would just say something crazy like that because I was like, all right, let's see if they're really interested in me or if it's about what they think I have.
Wow.
I have over 100, like almost 150 units, right? Mm-hmm. If you're whatever, you're just looking for the next guy so you can be married or whatever, you're just gonna be like, oh, that guy checks all the boxes.
He has money. He's a nice guy. Stand up.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you want to be with me. That means I'm just the next guy on the list.
Wow.
So that's what.
Did any girl ever catch you on what did women say when they said the ice cream truck driver line?
They would laugh, but then they would stop asking about what do I do for work.
They thought you were a drug dealer. That's what they thought.
I would say drug dealer
or an arms.
That's
dealer.
what I said to Scarlett. Actually,
stop.
We first started talking. She's like, "Oh, so what do you do for work?" I said, "I'm a drug dealer," and she's like, "Oh, I don't judge." She thought I was making fun of her because she's Colombian.
Oh my god!
So it was just funny. Yeah.
This poor girl. She goes home. She's like, "Mom, I think the cartel is after me."
Yeah. And then when she got to know me, her dad's like, "I don't know. I don't think he owns the property." I remember talking to Tom. I think Tom owns the property. And I don't know if that guy's telling you the truth. It was funny how the whole thing happened. But I was like, no, I actually own the property. Tom works with me. It's pretty funny.
And now let me ask you. That's funny. Let me ask you a question though. Working as much as you did, you were someone who I've seen work quite ridiculous amount of hours. How did that impact your dating? Like your lack of availability?
What I used to have a problem with was when to stop working. So that's when I started silencing my phone at 7 p.m. So only who's a favorite, like family or close friends could get in touch with me. And I wouldn't have my phone turned back on until 8 a.m. And then I'm ready to work again. So that's something I tried to do. I had to because I had literally nothing else to talk about but work. I was the most unfun friend you could have.
Wow.
I would go to social events. It'd be 10 o'clock and then I'd be standing around. They'd be like, what's the matter? I'm good. It's you guys are all talking about sports or a party you went to. And I'm like, I just want to talk about what I'm doing, and everyone's like, enough of work stuff. Don't talk about work. And I'm like, that's the only thing I'm interested in. So
I've experienced that as well. I really am so thankful that I maintained my faith in Jesus has grown over the course of the past few years, because without that, I really came to a place where all I really wanted to talk about was literally just real estate. Mm-hmm. And it was challenging for me to have friendships with people outside of real estate who didn't really have that common interest, or they weren't into, because I own a small real estate business here in Newark. We sell about 200 houses, right? Pretty good, I think. Yeah. And if people weren't about entrepreneurship or self-development, it got really, really difficult for me, because I was like, what the hell are we doing here? We got to grow, right? I got irritated in the matrix almost. But then actually it flipped. Weirdly enough, when I kind of got burnt out, 2021, 2022, I only wanted to hang out with people who weren't affiliated. No, sorry, late 2022, I wanted to get away from real estate. So last year I was like, I just want to be friends with people who just know me for me. Mm-hmm. Who don't know me for what I do or what I'm passionate about, whatever. Yeah. And I kind of had that bitterness. And I started hanging out with people who were just one of my became a close friend actually. His name is Vinny, really cool guy, artist. And he actually works in Brooklyn now as a hospitality role in front, whatever it is, at this building. Anyways, but he's totally wasn't what I was, kind of person I was friends with prior. He's not this business professional, real estate guy, boom. Yeah. The guy's an artist. He was a driver before he got this good gig he's at now. He played a lot of basketball, and me and him would just vibe. He was very theoretical, he is very philosophy orientated, and honestly, he's genuinely a good person, genuinely a good friend to have. And I remember when I had my kid, I let him hold my kid, right? To me, it's a very important thing. If you can hold my son, it means that I don't let people I don't trust and love and admire touch my child, right? By any means. Very important to me that way. So I'm building up a friendship with him, but it's so interesting because I think a year or two prior with that, me and him would never have been friends, because he was not about the real estate life. He was not about the small business owner life.
Right.
He is definitely about growth. He's a growth oriented person for sure. But he was like an artist. I'm like, what is this guy doing? He's rapping. That would never be my kind of friend.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, I listen to his music on my way to work, and when I listen, I feel good. Wow, I'm celebrating my friend.
Yeah.
And when we had our party here at the office, we brought people back to the rooftop. I played his song. And at the same time, though, I do agree that sometimes you're with people and you're like,
you don't know. Yeah.
it's news fest.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You're like, oh, man, if we got to talk, and the way that people talk about money, that to me has been something very challenging. Like they're going back and forth on like, I'll never forget this. I was at a party, man. This is actually a crazy story. I was at a birthday party of a close friend of mine. And it was like 8 people there. They all went crazy over a $600 bill. $700 bill. And they went so argumentative. I'm not paying that. It was like maybe a $900 bill, 8 people. Each person has to pay like $110.
Yeah.
You pay for the birthday guy, of course. People it seemed like they didn't want to pay for the birthday boy.
Right.
And they were arguing so much. I'm like, literally, I just like credited a seller of mine $3,000 today without thinking.
That's the like the issue that comes up as you continue to grow is that situation. So I have different groups of people. Like I have my childhood friends and I have my hockey friends. I have my real estate friends.
Yeah.
So if I ever go with my real estate friends, I never have to worry about the bill. No one fights. It's done. The hockey friends, it's always like separate checks.
Yeah.
Or it's like, did you actually throw in money? Like we're short $50 and everyone's, you're trying to figure out who, it's always like one guy who didn't throw it in. And then the childhood friends are like, I remember speaking to my friend, Mark, he's like, I had like $110 dinner with my wife. It's like, it's the most money I've ever spent on dinner. I was like, what? It's the most money you ever spent on dinner? I couldn't believe it. I was like, well, where do you guys go?
But at the same time, you don't want to be rude. Right? Because this guy's like...
No, I just told him that.
Okay.
With my childhood friends, like, they know me for me. So, like, they don't really care. They'll make fun of me in the group chat. I'm everything that they could think of. It's fun. It's fun. But those guys, like, we never talk about my money. It's always just about, like, how's everything going? How's your health? What's good with your relationship?
Yeah, it's much more. It's a deeper way. And honestly, I would say that real estate though has impacted me in that way. Where like so many of my clients, we service Newark, of course, and we help people buy and sell properties in and around the greater area of Newark. And I've seen so many different socioeconomic places, right? Like people who are wealthier, people who are more broke, and everything in between. So being able to kind of serve them and be sensitive to their financial position is actually, I'll be honest with you, a big advantage I think I have on other realtors, because other realtors either they work in the urban and they can never touch market. They can never touch luxury. Yeah. Or they touch luxury, but they can never touch urban. And even if they're in those areas, they feel uncomfortable. For me, I've sold like the $1.5 million house in Montclair, and I've sold literally $130,000 piece of land in Newark. I've done both. Yeah. I understand the $200K condo. And the buyer literally has been saving up for this condo for 8 years. Wow. And you're like, this is 20 grand. He goes, yeah, I put away $400, $300 a month, $200 a month.
Got to his goal.
But he got to his goal. And you hear that, you're like, wow, this guy's like, I get to be a part of this. And then you hear the person 1.5 who spent $20,000 on their front door. Like it was like $16,000 in the front door. It's crazy double door.
Oh, like one of those tall ones.
No, it was actually in my opinion, it wasn't that nice of a door. The physical material itself was like $8 grand, but then they opened up the whole thing and they made it a wider door than what it was, and that's why it cost so much money. Yeah, but it was just like, what the heck? You did in one doorway that was to sell the house. They did this. Meanwhile, the other guy for 200 something K condo, he put down, I think it was 10%. That's $20K plus closing costs, maybe $25, $30K. Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? It's like, what the heck? Okay, another question for you. Have you ever felt taken advantage of in a friendship because of finances?
I've been taken advantage of. Yeah, I definitely have. The way I try not to look at things in a negative way, right? So I look at it as I was given a gift. My gift is I can make money. Right. And so when people would take advantage of me, I wouldn't look at it as they were taking advantage of me. It was perspective. I looked at it as, well, they need the help. And so I'm going to give them the help. Kind of like what you were saying with the guy in jail who's stealing your crackers. Right. You're like, well, he must need it more than me. And you knew that you could get the crackers again. So you didn't care. But at a certain point, you got to look at it. Well, well, now I'm being at a certain point, your perspective changes, whether that's like your dynamic in jail change or like financial change. And you're like, well, this is not like okay anymore. And it's hard for them to understand that because you train them to take advantage of you.
How do you handle it?
The other thing I've been doing over the last years, I try to be a little more selfish. So
Yeah, you were saying.
That means attending less events. That means focusing on my health. That means renegotiating. Like if it's fees or equities or something like that, it's renegotiating something that's more in my favor or what I think is more fair. And that's what I've been doing over the last year. And it makes people think that you've changed, but
you have.
I have changed.
And it's a good change though.
Yeah, well, it's the changes. So this is the same thing that like when we talk about, you talk about war or something like that. It's all in the perspective of the people. Who's the good guy and who's the bad guy? In my vision, I'm the good guy because I'm standing up for myself. In their vision, I'm the bad guy because I'm trying to take something away from them or change a situation that they previously liked.
Yeah, but in reality, they were whoever they is, right? Probably 100 different characters.
Yeah,
they were selfish too. So now they don't want you to be what they were, and that's how they got ahead.
Yeah.
So I definitely hear this. Well, do you ever? Okay, another question for you. How has you take a lot of care of your mother and your family? Would you mind talking about that? At what point did you feel like it was necessary? At what point did you feel like it was something you could have done, could not do?
In that situation, it was kind of like fight or flight from my mom. So my dad was looking to retire. He sold his business in North Carolina. His plan was my mom was going to move to North Carolina with him. This was like 2016, 2017-ish, that time period. And my mom's like, I don't want to go. Like, I don't want to go to North Carolina. Like, none of my kids are there. None of my grandkids are there. And her and my dad don't really get along. So, like, what am I going to do? Sit there like
Terrible.
It's just not a good situation. So I was like, all right, well, what do you want to do? She's like, I want to stay here. I said, okay, well, this is the big house you're in. There's a lot of responsibility. Like, we need to come up with some money. We need to figure out something in order to be able to pay for this. And she's like, just anything, but I don't want to go there. So they had they got a divorce. And my dad's like an old school kind of guy, never showed any income or anything like that. So there's no way she's getting any alimony or anything. And so he sold his business, and I basically, no one wanted to get involved in my family. I had to do it. So I negotiated the divorce, right? Because the attorneys were just trying to rack up the bills, both their attorneys.
Oh my gosh.
And
how old were you at this time?
I was probably like 29 or 30.
So you're a young adult.
Yeah.
You're a young adult. You're an adult, but you're a young adult.
Yeah.
And you are basically acting as an intermediary, the mediator between your mother and your father in their divorce.
Yeah.
Who gets what gets who?
Yeah. So I know I did a good job because they both feel like they didn't win.
Wow. It's not, both people should feel like they win. Both people should feel like they didn't win.
Yeah. That's how you know you did a good job. My dad still says something. My mom still says something to this day.
Wow.
About it. So when that happened, I was like, all right, well, no one was really stepping up, in that situation. So I spoke to my mom. I said, as long as you want to be here, we're going to figure out a way to keep you here. And so at that point, I had no other choice. I had to I couldn't wait anymore. I couldn't defer making money anymore. Because what I would always do is I would make money on a deal and I reinvest all of it because I didn't have any real bills, A couple $1,000s is good, right? If I had that. So everything else would be reinvested. So now I was like, all right, now I have to start keeping and reinvesting into different places, create new revenue sources. And I was able to start providing for her.
It's funny you say that because what I find to be is when you have the constraint, right? Like a situation that binds you, you would then have, if you're an entrepreneur, like a solution-based person, you rise to the occasion. Like right now, I was saying, I'm doing my cash out refi in Kearney. My money's very tight. Like, and it's funny because I'm like, man, I'm being so creative. And I'm putting my brain's thinking opportunities are coming my way much more at a higher rate, like new business, new clients, new leads, amazing things. I have a partnership that's dissolving, right? They were my lead source. So that's put me in a bind. And all those things are like I'm launching.
Yeah.
because of it. And it's so interesting to me. Why? Because what I am doing is these constraints that I find you can actually put yourself in them. So now, for example, your mom's already good. So the question I have for you is, what situations are you currently in that are forcing you to rise to the occasion?
I think it's just time to elevate. I've been doing this for a little while. I've been doing real estate for about 7 years at this point.
Okay.
Even though if you asked me when I was like 15 years old, would I be in the situation? I would have been like, oh my God, that's awesome. But now I'm in this situation. I feel like I've plateaued a little and I don't like that. And so that's like the new elevation at this point. I want to get to the next level. I want to figure out, I want to get another private money source. I want to have more avenues to bring in deals. And I want to use this to be able to actually get to the next level where it's not just like good money. It's like really like it's life-changing money.
What amount of money on a monthly basis would you say is life-changing for you?
I don't think it's that crazy. It's like $200,000-300,000 a month. You do something like $200,000-300,000 a month. There's not really anything you couldn't do
At all.
What could you not do?
I think
you could afford a private flight to Florida.
That's
with
true.
that kind of money. You can
How
book
much is a private flight to Florida? 10 grand, 20 grand?
maybe like 10-20 grand round trip.
20 grand, let's say.
Right. So you could go to the nicest places in the world, stay there for a month, and it's not going to affect you, right? So 200,000-300,000 is very like.
And is that gross or net?
Net, let's say.
Okay. So my goal is a little different. My goal financially that I say I need to get net off my properties alone, not off any earned income, not off the business. Off my properties is 50,000 net. If I can get $50,000 net a month, I feel as though that's my there's really nothing I would want to do that I can't do.
Right.
Like I'm making 600 at that point, 600 grand sub taxes. Okay, maybe you're at 420, 400 grand. Sub my mortgage at that point, I probably pay like a $10,000, $12,000 mortgage.
Well, so work your numbers backwards, right? So let's just say you're doing 50,000 from your rental business, right? You're not. I mean, I'm assuming you're still going to be a realtor.
Yes. So this
right.
is
So you add on top of that, and then you add in maybe another revenue source, and so you'll be.
So you're right. So it ends up being around hopefully around the price you're saying, right? That's the goal at least. But I would tell you, I do think it's funny because when I used to say that, I'd be like, okay, when I get that number, I'm out. When I get that number, I'm out. I wouldn't want to be out. I really enjoy what I do. I love leading the people I lead. You just walked in on me and Natalie. Natalie and I have a volatile relationship. And I will tell you, she is one of my biggest blessings. I'll give her a shout right here. Natalie Cardenas, shout out to you. She's a huge blessing in my life. Leading her, challenges as may be, she's very skilled, super intelligent, super competent. When she's on, she is on, right? And she's honestly been a blessing in my life in my own faith. She's encouraged my faith. She's helped me. Why would I want to leave the opportunity to that? We got Rami on the mic here. Rami is a totally different person than I am. We have very different views on like marriage, life, etc. And we've had amazing conversations, I think at least, of how to interact, how to build. Okay, what does family life look like? Why do you feel this way? Why do I feel that way? It's a joy in my life.
Yeah.
Why would I want to retire from this? I'm having joy. It's not like I'm back breaking my back. Oh man, I don't want to ever be in a meeting again. No.
Yeah.
I probably will today I got a haircut at 9 a.m. instead of coming to the office.
I get mine at 8:30.
Yeah, you're crazy for that.
8
but I to be honest with you, I got a haircut at 9:30 instead of coming into the office.
Yeah.
Why? Because I built a life that's worth living. So why the hell would I want to? That when people say that, when I hit this number, I'm out. It's very naive. Very naive. I used to tell my wife that all the time. She's like, Brendan, it's not true. Stop saying it.
It isn't true. So my girlfriend wants me to stop when I'm 45. She's like, whenever you need to stop. I'm like, I'll never really stop. I was like,
what does that even mean? You want to go drink margaritas every single day for the rest of your life? Like, what do you want me to do? Stop and go die? What do you want me to do?
I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to really stop. I said, maybe what I do is going to be different when I'm at 45. Maybe I won't be in the car every day looking at job sites every day, but
correct.
But I'll still be doing stuff.
Higher leverage though.
Yeah.
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 Let me ask you this. What do you wish you would have been able to prevent real estate coming into your life? What do you wish you could have? I'll give you my story. I'll be like, I really wish that I wouldn't have found so much identity, so much of my self-worth in my real estate career. I think I was way too tied to it earlier on. It was like who I was as a person was real estate. If I didn't have real estate, who was I? Now I think the Lord, I feel like regardless, I'm a child of God. I'm loved. It's who I am. It's who I am. I'm a son of God. But what would you say for you would be like, I wish this didn't happen, or I wish I could have controlled that?
I mean, I guess I guess what I would have liked to have done sooner is learned how to hire people sooner.
Why is that?
Well, look at the business that you've been able to build, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure when you first hired your first couple people, you were like dying, like you could barely afford to pay them, right?
Oh, not only that, dude, my second employee, she's literally insane. So I hope to God she doesn't see this podcast and try to kill me. But she literally stole my credit card, stole my laptop, broke my laptop on her foot. She dropped her foot and it literally fell on her foot. It was terrible. It's actually maybe a workman's comp situation. And I had to call the cops on her. It was so intense. I said, oh my gosh. But yeah, and she is very sweet. She's just rough around the edges, but she is very sweet. But yeah, man, not only the money, just the managing.
Right.
You hire crazies because you're like a little bit cheaper than the not so crazies.
Right. So that skill, like what Dave and Eric have been able to do, they were able to hire, even though they really didn't have it all figured out, even though they really didn't have probably the money at the time. Same thing with you. But it led to a bigger operation, and that's kind of the direction I'm going in now. I don't need like a robust team like them necessarily.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Probably like 5 people. You know, 5 people, whether they're partners who are very active in the business or a couple employees. 5 people, 6 people, and now you have like a real squad. Like, all right, I got a deal coming in. You're gonna do the underwriting on it. You're gonna let me know if it's even worth me showing up at the property. You're gonna manage the construction crew. You're gonna manage the holds and the Airbnbs. You're gonna handle the administrative tasks.
What I've realized is partnership not the way. We think it's a way. The equity splits, all that stuff is not the way. It's not. It's better to just pay someone a nice fee for whatever they bring you, and do your own thing. Because when you have partnership, you get tied. And partnership is like marriage, and you should only be married to one person. I'm not about the partnerships. I'm really not. I'm really not about it.
I know.
I'm really not about it. Even if it's a small equity position, I'm not about it. Unless, even if there's a prenup involved, right, terms of dissolution, I'm really not about it. Where I am in my business right now, I had a guy, he basically approached me, 2 people in the past like 30 days to open up, one guy, a developer in Newark, and another guy, a builder out in a higher end area, like Summit, et cetera. And they're like, oh, we can partner. I want to start a brokerage with you, blah, blah, blah. I'm not looking for partners. No, thank you. I don't want it. I want my employees. I will give this person a piece of the profit share. No worries. Profit share, I will pay you extremely well. I will treat you extremely well. I will give you a big opportunity. I want you to go. You win in my world, right? Because I want my world to be big enough for you. That's what real estate's taught me. We can all win. I just need to build a bigger table. We can all eat. Just make the table a lot bigger.
Right.
But I'm not about the partner, man. I'm really not. No way. And I've had a great relationship with Leverage, Dave and Eric. They've helped me a lot. I would be nowhere where I'm at right now if it wasn't for Dave and Eric, how much they help invest in the business. So I'm not trying to like blow smoke there. But the partnership as where I'm at right now, I realize it's not the move.
Yeah, I think you get to a certain point when you realize you don't need the partnership anymore. And the way I was able to grow as I guess as quick or whatever pace I was at was by partnering.
That's why. Let me be clear. Right now, our business makes like gross like around $2 million, right? So at that point, I don't want a partner.
Yeah.
But when I was like at 50, when I was like 200K, the 300K route to the 2 mil, yeah, it was a great to have partner. Let me tell you.
Of course.
But now we're like, okay, we don't need. Our profit margin is very small. We're in a very tight operation. I'm not making 2 mil a year. We know how to create leads, right? Don't you? So.
That's the point I was saying earlier, was just trimming the fat.
Yeah.
Trimming the fat, less partnerships, less employees or like whatever, like utility type people. Get rid of those guys.
More
and just
joy, more happiness. And honestly, the partnership, can I tell you what it does? Actually frees up for real relationships. Because then it's like, okay, are we real or is this just because of the income?
Yeah. That's true.
It's a very hard thing to find out. It's a very hard thing to find out.
That is true.
It's a very hard thing.
That is true.
Very hard thing. Even me and you, we did our 2 deals. We haven't done a deal together in a long time, right? Last year, it's been a year.
Yeah.
Listing or a deal, I believe, right? A year.
I'll send you a listing. How about that?
Hey. No, about a year. But me and you, I always try to see you whenever I'm home. If I'm home, baby, I go over. Hey, I just stopped by your house the other day. Stopped on over.
Yeah.
And I see you as genuinely a friend. Even if we never do a deal together for the rest of our lives, I don't care. I just want to see you win. I'll give you free stuff. I'll put you on. Hey, you should use this platform. You should use this company. Go. I want to cheer you on. I want to add enough value as though I'm a partner without being paid as a partner. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because why? we're genuine friends. I want to see you win. Because you win does not mean I don't win. Mm-hmm. We can both win.
That's true. See, that's the way I operate, and that's a reason that I've been overly unselfish. Well, you know, the people who give you a call or they refer you someone, oh, like, don't forget to take care of me on the back end. Like,
I hate when people say that.
Like, I don't even want the call. Yeah, don't even call me anymore.
You don't know me. That's how could I not take care of you?
Yeah.
What kind of person am I going to be that I'm
But like the fact that you have to say that, like, it makes me not even want to. Okay, I don't even want to know who the person is that you sent to me because that's like I don't want the obligation. You know,
because no matter what you give, it's sign off.
No, and then but if they called me and they said, "Oh, whatever, you know, someone who can help me in a situation," oh, you know, who you call it that person. Yeah, and I'll be like, "Oh, cool. I'll put you in a group chat. You guys take it away. I'll do the intro."
I will say one thing though. Actually, I got to take back what I just said because I have a friend recently. He lives in Florida. He referred over to me a seller here in Newark, and I am paying him a 25% referral fee. Now, in my line of business, when people refer you realtors, it's customary to pay. So I think if you're a realtor out there, you do refer me business. I don't want to throw shade. Yes, you deserve the referral fee. And we pay between like 25-30% for a seller referral. Mm-hmm. So I have seen that. One time I actually paid 35%, which was a lot of money. But that's the most I've ever paid. But I will say in that case, between realtors, it's normal. Realtors, it's normal. It's like, okay, boom. But outside the realtors, it's not the way. It's not the way.
I've had it where people refer me a contractor, right? And then they want a piece of the contract. They want the contractor to mark it up to me so that they could take a piece of the money because they referred the contractor over to me. And the guy will tell me this, and I'll be like, I'm just not going to use this guy now. So you just turn their favor, it turned into nothing for everybody.
The contractor got beat. The friend got beat.
Because he's giving me a high price. I said, why is the price so high? I'm trying to go over the numbers. They don't make sense. And then he finally breaks it down. He's like, oh, because the guy who referred me wants a referral fee. He wants like 10% of whatever the construction costs.
10% is a lot too.
Yeah. And so I'm like, all right, well, now the deal doesn't work. So now I can't get the deal. And I can't hire you. And no one makes money. And really, what did it take for that guy to do? Hey, do you have a contractor in this area? Here's the phone number. Done.
Yeah. I would, it's...
Whereas in your situation, you actually have to go close the deal. Or at least
do 5%. It's something reasonable.
So, I don't know. So it just didn't work out.
Yeah, no good. Let me ask you the last question here, Mahir. What would you say is the best impact real estate has had on you as a person, being in this industry?
Confidence. So I remember when I first got started, like working for myself in general, I would always like walk in and be like, make sure I wear like the suit and stuff and try and look like I was like worth 100,000 even though I was making nothing. And I would go to these events and talk to everyone. Then I started running the events. I started doing conferences and running networking meetups. And then I got to know who the speakers were. And at that point, I was starting to make money. And then I was like, after getting to know people, I'm like, oh, like I'm actually like one of the realest guys in the room. So that's what I would say to myself. Like when we would get ready to go to a networking event, I'm like, don't forget, like we're the realest guys in the room. We can wear whatever we want to wear. We can talk to whoever we want to talk to. We don't need to earn anybody's business because we're the realest guys in the room. Like that's the confidence that we would have. And it worked.
Wow.
Yeah.
With that said, ladies and gentlemen, you had Mahir Allan, one of the realest guys on the podcast. All right. No, appreciate you, Mahir. Much love. And if you guys have deals, send them to Mahir. Adios.
Thank you.